From the heart of America, where hard work, freedom, and faith still define who we are. From the farms to the factories, from small towns to city streets, this is the fight for the soul of our nation.
We're watching Democrats attack democracy. Do not be fooled.
The strength, the grit, the greatness of the American spirit, all right here.
The left wanted power, not peace, but there's a resistance rising. A generation saying enough, enough. We've tried it their way, and it failed.
The Steve Gruber Show with your host, Steve Gruber, starts right now.
All right, and welcome to it as we kick off another brand new day here of the program. Glad to have you on board as we get into it. Thank you for being here. Three big things this hour. Number one, in Virginia, the so-called moderate Democrat governor, after unveiling 50 new tax proposals on the citizens, is now rolling out 15 draconian gun control laws to disarm as many people as possible. Number two, the Supreme Court appears to be ready to ban all mail-in ballots that arrive after Election Day. That would be another big blow to blue states. We'll keep an eye on that. And number three, more signs this week and over the weekend that the conflict in Iran is not going to be for a forever war, that the mainstream media and Democrats are trying to make it out to be. And honestly, I believe they're secretly hoping for it to destroy the president and the midterms for Republicans. President Trump stepped up to the microphones yesterday with this announcement. Listen closely.
We have had very, very strong talks. We'll see where they lead. We have major points of agreement. I would say almost all points of agreement. Perhaps that hasn't been conveyed. The communication, as you know, has been blown to pieces. They're unable to talk to each other. But we've had very strong talks. Mr. Witkoff and Mr. Kushner had them. They went, I would say, perfectly. I would say that if they carry through with that, it'll end that problem, that conflict. And I think it'll end it very, very substantially. They want very much to make a deal. We'd like to make a deal, too. We're going to get together today by probably phone, because it's very hard to find a country. It's very hard for them to get out, I guess. But we'll at some point very, very soon meet. We're doing a 5-day period. We'll see how that goes. And if it goes well, we're going to end up with settling this. Otherwise, we'll just keep bombing our little hearts out.
Boom. Leadership, the art of the deal in real time. While the Biden-Harris crowd spent years coddling the mullahs and watching them race toward the bomb and a lot more missiles, Trump picked up the phone, applied real pressure, got some of them to fold on having a nuclear weapon. At least that's what he is telling us right now. Here's more.
So you said there's many points of agreement with Iran right now.
Many.
What, can you give us a
Many, like 15 points. 15 points.
Iran has said yes.
Well, they're not going to have a nuclear weapon. That's number one. That's number 1, 2, and 3. They will never have a nuclear weapon.
They said yes to that?
They've agreed to that.
Yeah, there you have it. He didn't beg. He didn't apologize for America. He made it clear that the era of weakness is over for this country. And get this, his administration isn't even wasting time with the supreme leader hiding in his bunker. No, they're dealing directly with the top guy inside Iran, a real power player who actually makes decisions. At least that's what we're told. Trump's team cuts through the regime's usual smoke and mirrors, went straight to the source, one that's willing to negotiate, apparently. Here it is.
Who is Steve Witkoff speaking with, Mr. President?
Speaking with in Iran.
A top person. Don't forget, we've wiped out the leadership phase 1, phase 2, and largely phase 3. But we're dealing with the man who I believe is the most respected and the leader. It's a little tough. We've wiped out everybody.
Is that the Supreme Leader?
No, not the Supreme Leader.
So
We don't.
not much talk
Well,
about
nobody heard of the second Supreme Leader, the son.
Are these direct?
Nobody. We have not heard from the son. In all fairness, everybody's been killed from the regime. They're really starting off. There's automatically a regime change. But we're dealing with some people that I find to be very reasonable, very solid. The people within know who they are. They're very respected. And maybe one of them will be exactly what we're looking for.
We'll find out, but that's how you win. That's how you end wars before they drag on for a decade. The fake news outlets are already screaming unprecedented, like it's a bad thing. Unprecedented is right, unprecedented success. Iran is denying that the talks ever happened because they don't want to look weak, but UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer, who is weak and refuses to be a significant help, says even he knows that these talks took place. Here he is.
Well, my very strong view is we need to de-escalate and bring an end to this conflict as swiftly as possible. And we've been working with a number of countries in that regard. And to that end, I welcome the talks reported between the US and Iran. And to be clear with the committee, we, the UK, were aware that that was happening. And the immediate priority has to be a swift resolution of the conflict and delivering a negotiated agreement which puts tough conditions on Iran, particularly in relation to nuclear weapons. So that's the sort of number one priority.
Number one priority. But he's not going to do anything, not anything to help make that a reality. He'll just let President Trump do the heavy lifting while he criticizes him and, of course, sends us the bill for everything else that they need to defend themselves. Thanks to these productive talks, a 5-day ceasefire currently in effect as we sit here. And meanwhile, the world is lining up behind America. Again, more than 20 countries, more than 20, have now signed on to help reopen the Strait of Hormuz. That's the critical choke point where 20% of the world's oil flows, even though it's only 2% of the oil that we use here in America. Iran tried to squeeze it shut, thinking they could blackmail the world. Trump said no. He called in allies, and now we've got a coalition ready to keep those shipping lanes wide open. Saudi Arabia, the UAE, even some European partners who finally woke up and realized Trump's America is the only reliable partner any of them have. This isn't some NATO paper-pushing exercise. This is coordinated naval power, intelligence sharing, and enforcement muscle that says, play nice, get your act together, or get out of the way. The mullahs thought they could disrupt global energy and spike prices to hurt American families. It's worked to some extent. But they're also watching their leverage evaporate. You can already see the result in the markets, and it's glorious. Right after the cessation announcement dropped, oil prices took a nosedive, down to over 8% in a single trading session. Gas at the pump is leveling out and starting to trend lower. We haven't even hit the weekend yet. Stock market also loving this. The Dow jumped nearly 700 points in the first hour of trading. Tech, energy, defense, everything in the green. Investors know stability when they see it. They're more confident about the possibility of a strong America under Trump as opposed to the senseless chaos and inflation we've suffered for 4 long years under Joe Biden and his hapless crew. It's all beginning to come together, all right? It is. Now, I know there's some trepidation, some concern, some people that thought we got into this war for the wrong reasons. Well, stand back. Donald Trump doesn't answer to anyone if you haven't figured that out yet. He makes his own decisions based on the information he has, and I believe he's getting pretty good information, at least thus far. Not everybody agrees with me. That's okay. This is my take on where we stand today. American strength, restoring a sense of confidence in the Middle East. First time in my lifetime that we can say, look, we have a real chance here for long-term stability. I'm with him on it. Not sure you are, but I am. I'll take a break and be back. It is the Steve Gruber Show. I have confidence that this will conclude in a way that we are satisfied with. I don't have a timetable for you. I don't. Couple of weeks, couple of months. It depends on what happens in the end of this 3-day period now. It was 5. Now we're down to about 3 days left on this ceasefire. Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna of Florida shared her confidence in the end of the conflict. She was on the Bill Maher show when she said this.
Yeah, I think, I guess one of the biggest announcements that just happened about maybe 43 minutes ago is that he announced that they're going to be winding down operations. And look, I've been on the phone with the White House from the very beginning. Obviously, being a veteran myself, you know, my husband, for goodness sakes, was shot in Afghanistan. So for me, the last thing I want is boots on the ground, and I would never vote for that. But to be very clear, the president and the White House had never advocated for that as well.
He said he might do it a couple of weeks ago.
I think internal conversations with the White House that we're having are maybe different than what is out there. Remember, President Trump has been very good
came out of his
at
mouth,
using President Trump in private conversations, as well as the White House, though, has been very clear that they're not.
So you would split
as
with him if he
effective.
put boots on the ground?
Well, I don't think that he's going to. I mean,
But you would?
Yes, I
You
would.
would?
But I will tell you this, that in my discussions with the White House, that's never been something that's actually being discussed.
All right, so there you have it. She would do it if necessary. I don't want boots on the ground. You don't want boots on the ground, but I have a lot more confidence in Trump's ability to prevent that from happening than I would in anybody else in this position today. Trump is a respected world leader despite what they say in the mainstream media, despite what Democrats say, and I think negotiations are going to continue to prove that. But don't think for a second the Iranians rolled over without one last desperate tantrum. Reports confirm they tried, emphasis on tried, to lob missiles toward our critical base at Diego Garcia in the Indian Ocean. That's 4,000 kilometers. 4,000 kilometers. Almost double what Iran said their missiles were capable of. Again, proving they lied. By the way, that is our unsinkable aircraft carrier in the middle of nowhere. The strategic jewel that keeps the whole region in check is Diego Garcia. Iranian commanders, or whoever's left running the regime, and nobody knows who that is, sent 2 missiles toward our base. One shell fell short of its target. The other was shot down short as well. Not a single asset was affected, nor any American lives lost, but it did showcase the kind of threat that Iran has been becoming. This is what they've been doing. Everyone said they didn't have missiles capable of reaching that far, except Donald Trump. He did during the State of the Union. That threat has always been real. Another thing that Luna confirmed while speaking with Bill Maher. Here's more.
Okay. The day after it happened, I think this is important for people to know. I talked to Secretary Rubio within 24 hours of everything going down. And what I will tell you is, and we can probably get into the issue of whether or not there was an imminent threat, which in my belief there was, but there was this thing called the Nazir Plan. And that was basically if they were hit at all, that they would retaliate. And as you saw in Tulsi's hearing that she did the other day, she said part of her job at ODNI is to actually provide the threat analysis of potential outcomes for if that were to take place. And it is my belief that they would have basically resulted in mass fatality for our troops in the southern portion of that region.
Well, you seem to know some stuff we don't.
Well, that's why I'm here to kind of have the discussion, though, because I think
I mean,
like people have the right to be concerned.
Did you know?
Of course, we all have a right to be concerned, but the bottom line is this: whether or not you trust the person you voted into office. The 5-day pause isn't a weakness, it's a strategy. Trump has been clear. He plans to use the time to finalize the deal, verify every inch of it, and make sure the mullahs understand the consequences if they cheat. We've got eyes in the sky, sanctions ready to snap back harder than ever, and military options on the table that make their hand pretty clear. Their hair is on end. Remember, this is the man that got the Abraham Accords signed and has helped end more than a handful of wars just in the last year. And now Iran's staring down the barrel of total isolation and annihilation. That's the Trump doctrine in action. For years, we watched Iran fund terrorists, attack our troops, threaten Israel, race toward nukes while American presidents sent them birthday cards and cash. Trump changed the game the first time. Maximum pressure, Soleimani gone, no new wars. In his second term, he's finishing the job. The regime knows the clock is ticking. Their economy is in ruins. Their proxies are getting rolled up, and their own people are just waiting for the right moment to rise up again. 20 nations signaling that they're choosing the side that actually wins by standing with us on the Strait of Hormuz. The mainstream media will spend the next week hunting for some angle to call this a failure. They'll cry about human rights while ignoring the Iranian people finally getting a chance at real freedom. They'll whine about escalation even as gas prices begin to fall and markets celebrate, but we know better. MAGA knows better. So keep the faith, folks, please. This 5-day window is just the beginning. I pray the full deal is coming. Ironclad, verifiable, and enforced by American strength. One thing I'm sure of, Iran will never have a nuclear weapon on Donald Trump's watch. That is for sure. One more bit of breaking news you may have missed from yesterday before I wrap this up this morning. Markwayne Mullin has been confirmed to lead DHS. Now the question is, how does that impact the SAVE Act and votes by the U.S. Senate? You can't be a senator and the Secretary of Homeland Security. You can't do both. But Markwayne Mullins in 54-45. John Fetterman of Pennsylvania, Martin Heinrich of New Mexico voting to confirm Mullen. So 2 Democrats came across. Of course, Rand Paul, yeah, he said no. I know you're surprised. And that's the monologue. Tired of taking vitamins that don't seem to work? Protovite. It's a breakthrough liquid, formula designed to absorb quickly so your body actually uses it. When we say multivitamin, we mean it, with over 100 nutrients, including B vitamins, amino acids, zinc, and plant extracts. You get daily support for energy, focus, and immune health. Only from Victory Nutrition International. Nutrition that gets in. Start your mornings with Protovite and feel the difference. Get 20% off today, and if you subscribe, you get 20% off and free shipping forever. VNI.life/Gruber with the promo code Gruber. They're the best vitamins we found. I didn't do the research, but Ivy did. She's the health coach around this little establishment of ours. So VNI.life/Gruber. Promo code is Gruber. Go ahead, save 20%, become a subscriber, 20% off, and free shipping for life. Good to see you on this Tuesday morning. It is the Steve Gruber Show.